If I am asked what we are fighting for, I reply in two sentences. In the first place, to fulfill a solemn international obligation, an obligation which, if it had been entered into between private persons in the ordinary concerns of life, would have been regarded as an obligation not only of law, but of honour, which no self-respecting man could possibly have been repudiated. I say secondly, we are fighting to vindicate the principle which, in these days when material force, sometimes seems to be the dominant influence and factor in the development of mankind. We are fighting to vindicate the principle that small nationalities are not to be crushed in the defiance of international good faith by the arbitrary will of strong and overmastering power.
Just shoot him! Why is this even a question? He's the enemy! Where is your honour?
At the Somme, among the bodies of my men.
Play us a song, Ivor.
I don't have my guitar.
Well then sing, bloody hell, mate. Lighten this mood.
Now's not the time for frivolous music. We must act. We must uphold our duty.
Have you ever even seen any action, Private? Ever been away from home? Where have you been the last 2 years?
Have you ever killed a man?
No. Then tell me, what do you know of duty, of honour?
I know enough. I know this filth does not deserve the air that he breathes. How do you know it?
Let him speak.
Tell me, how do you know it? I thought I knew it too. The first dead man we saw shattered this conviction. All that their teaching had given us fell to pieces under the bombardment. While they went on writing and making speeches about honour, we saw field hospitals and men dying. While they preached the service of the state as the greatest thing, we already knew that the fear of death was even greater. We loved our country just as much as they did, and so we went into every attack bravely. But now, we were able to distinguish things clearly. All our eyes had been opened at once. We saw behind their lies. We are alone, and we must come to terms with this alone.
If Kaiser and King George would have said no, would there have been a war?
Maybe not, but they did want a war.
We're defending our homeland, they're defending theirs. Which one of us is right?
Maybe both.
We're all ordinary people. It's just the government's fault.
So why is there war at all?
It's better not to think about the whole damn thing. It doesn't change his point. Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori.
Don't offer up that old lie. I don't want to die out here for their war. I didn't want to kill anyone. Before the enemy was just some concept in my mind, but now I see the humanity. I see all that we have in common, and in all my dreams before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. Stop. If in some smothering dream you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and see his white eyes writhing in his face, his hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. At every jolt, if you could hear the blood come gargling from his froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cut of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues. My friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory that old lie, dulce et decorum est pro patria mori.
Why are we here?
To save our king, to save our country.
But are they serving us?
Do they see what we see? Do they see that we're trapped?
I don't know what to kill you. Any of you. I just want to go home. Wait, to forget it all. What are you guys doing?
You don't get it, do you? We've been tricked.
There isn't any point.
Where are you going?
Home!
I am making this statement as an act of willful defiance to military authority, because I believe that the war is being deliberately prolonged by those who have the power to end it. I am a soldier, convinced that I am acting on behalf of soldiers. I believe that this war, upon which I entered as a war of defense and liberation, has now become a war of aggression and conquest. I have seen and endured the sufferings of the troops, and I can no longer be a party to prolong these sufferings for ends which I believe to be evil and unjust. I am protesting against the political errors and insincerities for which the fighting men are being sacrificed. On behalf of those who are suffering now, I make this protest against the deception which is being practiced on them. Also, I believe that I may help to destroy the callous complacency with which the majority of those at home regard the contrivance of agonies which they do not, and which they have not sufficient imagination to realize.